I spoke a few moments ago about my personal desire to challenge the stigma that still blankets the arena of mental health. And I know that in my own case, however reconciled I am to my own ups and downs now, when I'm in it, one of the biggest pressure points in my head is that I don't want to admit that I'm unwell. I don't want to tell my boss, my colleagues, that I'm really struggling. They've been very sympathetic when I have struggled, and I realise that not everyone is necessarily as fortunate to have the bosses and the colleagues that I did. Nevertheless, a lot of the resistance or the fear we feel about opening up about where we are is a projection. People do tend to be much more understanding and sympathetic than you might assume, partly because so many people working in newsrooms and news organizations have actually been through this stuff themselves at some point. They may not have made videos about it, but they'll recognize that what you're going through may be very close to experiences that they've had and maybe been glad to turn their back on. So take a risk. Find someone you can speak to, whether it's at work or in your personal life, because as soon as you start to make that connection, you will feel a little stream of light coming in. You will feel a sense of hope penetrating that kind of enveloping fog that can make us feel so lost and despairing of ever finding safety again. So reach out, send me an email if you like. I'll be happy to have a chat, but perhaps it'll serve you even better to find a colleague or somebody else within your organization who you can find space and time to say, look, things are difficult for me right now, and I might need to take a bit of the pressure off. Now, again, I can hear that journalist voice in your head almost as you're watching this saying, I can't stop. As soon as I admit some kind of weakness, they'll think that I'm not fit to do the job, that role I worked so hard to achieve will slip out of my grasp, that I'll be consigned to the scrap heap, that I'll be denied the dream that I worked so hard to achieve. Well, you won't be. I'm living testament to that, and there's a lot of my colleagues as well who are too. There's more and more people out there talking about their own struggles who are working in the media. You can draw some strength from them. This message is perhaps even harder one for you to hear, especially if you're in the kind of place that I was a year ago or some years before that. It doesn't matter that much. Your well-being is much more important than any professional role you play. So if you're one of these people who are suffering and saying, I just got to get back on track, I've just got to get back on track, I'd say, if that track's led you into the pain you're in as you're watching this, maybe you need to get onto a different track. Maybe the question is, what do I need to be doing differently? How do I need to be living and working differently? What new possibility could be there for me? And I'm not talking about a new job or changing what you do. I'm talking about changing how you do it, how you approach it, and putting a little bit of space around you. That means the work and your identity that's bound up in that work isn't as all important and all consuming as it's sometimes felt. I know that was the first step, in a sense, to my own healing. And I'm still in the game. In fact, I'm probably playing it more effectively than I was before. I'm certainly enjoying it more than I was before. But I had to crack that shell. I had to surrender that invincible journalist archetype that drove me for so long before I could start to play it with a little bit more of a sense of humour.